Well, hello there and welcome to my workshop. Now in this series I'm building a classical style acoustic guitar, but with a difference. I do hope you'll join me. Hello, welcome back. Now then, in this episode I'm going to be attempting to cut out tiny water droplets from some mother of pearl shells. I'm going to be trying to make some laminated braces for this acoustic guitar, and if that's not enough, I'm going to try and delve into the wonderful world of marquetry. Now to start off, I'm going to try and make myself some thin strips of wood so I can make these laminated braces. You may remember from the previous video that I've got this rather strange design for the bracing, and I've come up with this idea that they need to be laminated braces because I need to put a curve into them. And I'll show you that in a minute, but first of all let me get some strips of wood and make some laminations. Well, I haven't bored you with the last couple of hours work because it was just a question of making these strips of wood, which are all about 2mm thick, and making these formers. So my idea is this. Just looking at the braces, you will see that they're rather an unusual shape. It's sort of a strange fan shape, and on this plan I've showed it marked as 2 pieces of wood. Well, I don't want to do 2 pieces of wood, I want to do a single piece. So I've created former A for that, and I always create the curve a bit more intense than the actual curve that I want because the wood does spring back a bit. So I've got A, B and C, and they're my A, B and C formers. So there, put those to one side. Now then, former D is for the pieces of wood or struts that are going to go from the end block to the neck block to give the whole lot a little bit more strength. When the strings are on, the pressure is going to be that way, so I want to relieve the pressure from the top, allow the top to vibrate, but give some structure to the body of the guitar. So these will be between the back plate and the top plate. They will just sit in sort of mid-air attached to those 2 blocks, and that's the former. And again, I've gone for a slightly more acute curve than the curve that I want. Right, I've selected some wood for those main struts, which I'm calling D, and I've got some timber there. I've got some quite thick timber, in fact. I think I will put the thick ones on the outside, the thin ones in the middle. Let's try that. That looks reasonable. And so I need to glue it on this former. Let's have a go. I made a quick modification to my former, cutting out this shape at the back as well, because I realised when I'm clamping I was going to have difficulty if it was flat across the back. So it now follows the shape of the top, so it should be okay to clamp. Just putting some wax round so that the glue doesn't stick onto the board. And I've got my little homemade violin clamps to clamp it all down. So let's go with the piece that I'd set up. Here it is. So first of all, get some glue on this first piece. Here goes. These clamps are really simple to make and incredibly useful. These are made from an old dining room table leg. Okay, that's one down. Let's see how this glues up, and we'll tackle the rest. Well, as you guitar builders will know, you can't rush building a guitar. And well, I've made 2 of these, but I found out yesterday I tried to take this one off too soon and it hadn't properly set, so I had to start again. So I'm going to have to leave them a day to cure. But they're the 2 main supports, and they're pretty tough. So let's get on with the bracing. So now these 3 braces have been curing for over a day, so let's see if they're all fixed. Well, these look okay. I bent them slightly more acutely than the drawing here, but I think they're going to be fine actually, and that's looking good. Right, okay, so I'm going to do another 3 of these. I am using a variety of woods on these braces, so I'm not sure what this is. This was an old window frame. This is either ash or sycamore, and this is Santos rosewood, and this is rib C. So I shall create another rib C using the same woods. Now this is slightly different in so much as this one had a bend approximately there, he says. This one has got a bend rather offside. This is because there's going to be a dolphin there. So what I do is I mark the length, also mark where the bend is. Now I cut the pieces to length. And I glue up the pieces. And I've found that it's best to put glue on both sides. Okay, so having glued it, I note that the bend has got to be there, so I shall put that just there and fix that down. Now I work back along the length, just clamping it with these violin style clamps. I've put plenty of wax on this board, so hopefully it shouldn't stick to it. Okay, that's one down, just 2 more to go. Well, that's the other 3 braces glued, so now it's just a question of waiting. And in the meantime, I'm going off to the studio to try and record some music that will go on the full build video. Yes, I'm confident there's going to be something at the end of this. Now, in the last episode, I had a go at doing the decoration on the front of the guitar, and you remember that I crushed a shell and used the bits from the shell to create the water droplets. Now, I wasn't entirely happy with that process. There was no control over the shape of the pieces that came out of the crushed shell, and some of them were quite thin and they lost their sort of glow. So I really wanted a better way of doing that. So I got out the jeweler's saw and started having a go at trying to cut out water droplets from the shells. And to be honest with you, it was surprisingly easy. Now, the real problem doing this is that the water droplets are really small. And if you've ever tried to cut a shell, you know, as you get to the end of the cut, the piece flies off. And so I lost a couple of water droplets on the floor of the workshop and I just could not find them. So in the end, I came up with a technique of putting a piece of wallpaper underneath the cutting area, and fortunately the shells dropped into that and I could pick them up. Now, I also cut out some longer shapes because I want to do some highlights on the top of the waves in the background. So I experimented with some sort of wavy lines. So we'll see how it all comes together, but I've sort of proved the principle, and now I've got a selection of water droplets and lines which I'll be adding to over the next few days or so. And I'm very pleased with the way that it looks. This is one of the new pieces, and it's much deeper than the broken pieces, and you get a much brighter finish from it. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it really is shining, and it looks wonderful. So I think that's going to work. Now, in the previous episode, I made myself this little chisel, which was really useful in digging out the wood there. Since then, I've also made myself a little gouge. Now, again, this is made out of an Allen key, and I've used a Dremel and with a file on there, a diamond file, just to create that gouge effect there. And this is ideal for making the hole. So basically, I just need to press this in a couple of sides, like so. Then I can use my little chisel just to get out the centre. It makes my life a lot easier. Now then, that's the shells sorted out, so I think I know what I'm doing with that. But you can never have enough dolphins, can you? And I've been thinking about purfling. Now, I'm not going to put anything on the top of the guitar other than the binding round the edge and this decoration of the shells and the dolphins. But it just occurred to me, on the sides of the guitar, I wonder if I can add something that makes it look interesting. On my 50-year-old nylon guitar that I restored recently, I used marquetry round the sound hole. Now, I'm not going to do that on this guitar, as you know, but I'm wondering if I could use marquetry round the sides of the guitar. Now, I've got a lot of images of dolphins here, and so my idea was, could I use this image to create a pattern all round the edge of the guitar? Now, I have this little workshop in my brain, which is my sort of safe space when I want to stop and just think about things. I just open up the door of my little workshop up there and go inside and think about a problem. And this marquetry problem has really had me stumped. Now then, with the acoustic guitar, what I did was created effectively a bar of blocks, a bit like a stick of rock. So the pattern was running through the whole bar. And then I basically cut slices off and used those to create the pattern round the guitar, round the sound hole. So my idea is, well, all I need to do is create a bar of dolphin so that I can just slice it and then stick the little tiles all together round the sides of the guitar. But it's creating that bar. So I've effectively got to create a dolphin that goes right the way through the bar, rather like a stick of rock. I don't know if you get rocks in other countries, but like Brighton Rock or whatever. But yeah, this has really been a bit of a challenge. But then I thought, circles. So here's my thought process. I started off with a circle, then added a second circle just on the top. Now both of these are 12mm. So effectively then I could put a notch in the bottom circle. So imagine this is a rod and this is a rod. So I could put a notch in the bottom rod there to create a fin going down. The top circle here, which is going to be offset, is going to be the dolphin. And then all I needed to do was to put another little triangle on the top, which is effectively the fin on the top. So if you put all this together, you end up with something like this. Now, this is just a rough sketch. So what I did, I sat down at the computer and I've broken it down into 3 parts. So I've got the main core part, I've got the dolphin part, and then I've got the outside area part. Right, the first piece I need to create is a round light wood dowel. And I was out shopping yesterday and found this. This is 12mm diameter, which is exactly the diameter that I need. And it's a hardwood dowel. So it's something I don't have to worry about. Now then, the next thing is I need to create a dark wood dowel. Now, I'm quite comfortable creating a wooden dowel myself. I'll use the drill and some sandpaper to create that. But I also need to gouge out the middle of it. And for that, I found this router bit, which I think will do the job. And again, fortunately, this is 12mm diameter. So I tried a test piece. This piece I'd actually gouged out by hand, and it took absolutely ages, and it wasn't very accurate at all. This piece was with the router bit. What I do need to do is to secure this really rigidly and create a jig so that the router doesn't wander off at all. But I think I can do that. Now then, the little triangles, I'm thinking can be done by slicing a triangle using a knife. Now, I've not done it before, I'm just literally doing this now, so let's just see what happens. I've got to be very careful, and obviously I might need some sort of guide when I actually do the real thing, but let's see if we can get something that looks like a fin or a flipper. Yeah. So I'll get something. Right. I'm going to break that out. Okay. Now, I quite like the idea of it not being uniform all the way along. So I'll either need to fill this with wood dust and glue, dark wood dust and glue, or try and cut a piece to fit in it. But I've got a couple of options there, and I think that will do the job. Now, the final piece of this jigsaw is the top piece, and for that I'm going to use a rectangular piece of light wood, probably maple or sycamore. I'm going to route out a channel for the dolphin, and then I'm going to put another groove in for the dolphin's fin, and again either fill that with dark wood dust or try and cut a piece of wood to do it. So I should end up, if I can glue this all together really carefully, with a long piece of dolphin, which I can then slice up and use as tiles to create the purfling around the sides of the guitar. I've sort of set myself a task which I think is impossible to do. I don't know what you guys think. You're going to have to keep watching to find out because this is going to take a while. Anyway, thank you for watching this episode. I hope you still with me on this, and please let me have all your comments. I'm really grateful for them. Your advice is absolutely fantastic. I might not take it exactly to the letter, but it does guide me on the way that I tackle this project, so I do appreciate it. Anyway, I'll see you soon, and in the meantime, stay safe. Cheers.